Today with me are two teetotalers, both associated with Feni. Both have one maybe has drunk has had some drinks in his childhood but does not drink. The other one too has never tasted any alcohol. With me are two great Goans, Makwaz and Siddha Sardessai. Namaskar, guys. Mac is the big father, the big boss of Feni, under whose leadership the Feni got the geographical indicator. The second is my friend Siddha Sardessai, a renowned architect and a man who built my house to perfection. He is doing a film on Feni. So guys, in this tavern, let me welcome you all again. And I would ask you the first question. How did you manage to get this geographical indicator for Feni? And to whom do you, besides you, does this credit?
Nandan, first of all, I must compliment you for putting the show together, and you are an ambassador of everything Goan, and now you have taken it upon yourself to be an ambassador for Feni. So we need more soldiers and ambassadors like you. With regard to GI, it has been a long journey. My father always believed that Feni could stand shoulder to shoulder with the Kashashas, with the Johnny Walkers of the world. As a child, I never wanted to join the business. I was to join the Indian Army. But my father said, I need you more than the country needs you. And he emoted this spirit of Desh Bhakti. He was a very proud Indian, not anti-Portuguese, but very proud Indian. And he celebrated the good things which the Portuguese brought to Goa. And Feni was one of those good things which the Portuguese brought as a fruit, and we Goans distilled it and made Feni out of it. GI was something which got kindled at a time when the Basmati issue was on the high.
Yes, Haldi and Basmati both.
Yes, Americans were trying to infringe on Basmati with their Texmati brand, and also we had a little tiff with Pakistan. That was the time my father said Feni is an asset of Goa, just like Harmony and Konkani is. And he always believed that this asset needs to be protected and promoted. So we got our act together, and in our initiation of this protection and promotion exercise, we got everyone to come together because everyone associates Feni as a synonymous with Goa. At that time, Chief Minister Digambar Kamat Bab, even Manor Parikar Bab, who is our Mapshakar, was very conducive to the idea of promoting and protecting this spirit of Goa. Then we got the Chamber of Commerce on board, we got the Science and Technology Department on board, and then the media was all on our side. We were like the Davids of the whole liquor industry. So, you know, the whole world conspired to get together to get Feni, and in 2009, we got our act together. I consider myself a soldier, and because of our spirit of camaraderie, we were able to protect this spirit of Goa.
Yes, but Macbab, history will always remember you guys, because without that, we would not, the effort that you all put in there, we would not have been where we are today. So, on behalf of Goa, Goans, I congratulate you and the rest who worked to get this GI tag for Feni.
Thank you. I'll take this compliment on behalf of the stakeholders of Feni too.
My next question is a very difficult question for you. With no offense to anybody, I want to ask you a beautiful question. You all have strived to raise a flag. How do you protect that flag? The flag of Feni could be in danger tomorrow. Now let me ask you simple questions. You all are honorable Goinkars who have done honorable business. What you make is what you sell. The future, when I spoke to a lot of people in this, and I saw a lot of spurious brands jumping around. Are you afraid of this industry being raided by fake caju bottled?
Bob, yes, on the dot. In this stakeholder community of ours, there are good soldiers and then there are bad soldiers. And though the bad soldiers are less in number, they unfortunately give the industry a very bad name because they compromise on the spirit, which is Feni, and in nexus with a few shops, the equity of Feni gets diluted because they end up fooling the tourist who take a bottle back home, and that tourist does not become an ambassador of Feni if he has taken
A fake one.
the one which is not the real one. Now we need to motivate these stakeholders to look at the bigger picture because अपने पैर पे कुराड़ी मार रहे हैं लोग. Because in the long term,
नहीं, I'll rephrase. वो अपने पे नहीं मार रहे, वो हमारे पे मार रहे हैं. हाँ? They are here to loot and scoot. We as Goans need to protect.
exactly. And the good news is now in the recent past, the government of Goa, especially the tourism department, the excise, are coming on board, and they believe that they need to be the catalyst to catapult the spirit of Goa, which is a shan of our state and a pehchan of our country. Other countries around the world promote their spirits without any qualms. But alcohol, Feni being an alcohol, you know, we Indians have this little orthodox hypocritical mode. So we need to ensure that this is an asset of Goa and this has to be promoted as a essence of Goa which can be reflected across the world. And for this we have got ambassadors, and our biggest ambassadors are our diaspora Goans who are across the world, and they are so passionate and nostalgic of the spirit, and they are the ones who are generating interest in our spirit, and we are exporting.
Oh, it's nice to hear this, but now let me go to the next question. You know, Goans who come from outside to Goa, our Goinkars, how do they go to a shop and find out in a bottle what is inside is good or bad?
That's the key. Goan who understands Feni on the olfactory senses and on the fain element can recognize a good Feni. You cannot fool a local who knows Feni. But the tourists, unfortunately, very often are taken for a ride, and that is a cause of concern, which needs to be corrected by introspection, that we don't want to do unto Feni what maybe saffron has done to, Kashmir has done to saffron. Because once the equity of a product falls, the good guys get lost. It's only the bad guys, the spotlight is on the bad guy, and then the bad word spreads faster than the good word. So that's our biggest challenge, and fortunately we have got more stakeholders on board now who believe in this idea of protecting this spirit of Goa.
So let's together do it now. It is the need of the hour is to tell the Goans. See, I would rather speak to tourism department, excise, to please have small 30-second bites of how to buy Feni, and who are the ones who are still using the original technology, the original process, and not fooling and making money in just name of Feni. Let's ideate and work in protection of this. Because my next question is to a guy who has never understood what is effect of alcohol on a human mind. Siddha Bab, where do I start? A man who does not know what is intoxication is always been, yet if there is a party and there are 10 people having alcohol till 4 o'clock, you would still sit with them, still enjoy that company. For a renowned architect, what suddenly changed that you wanted to do a film on Feni?
The film on Feni was basically there was something happening in my mind that we should do something to preserve the traditions and culture of Goa. There are so many factors. So it started with Feni and salt. My father-in-law has a salt pan, and we know that salt is being extracted, but we never went into the intricacies of how the entire process is done. So it struck upon me that we should do a film, we should document this, basically more than a film. It was more like a documenting the particular work. And then there are so many traits in Goa, so many traditions in Goa, be it salt, be it Feni, be it pav, the local une pav that we call, the toddy. There are so many things in Goa which is degrading, which is getting extinct, which is getting replaced by mechanized methods or more by modern technology, because the age-old technology what is there is not known to us. We want the process to be done faster. So we just thought that, okay, why don't we do a film on Feni, on salt? There was lockdown. Lockdown helped us to think more, being in the house, doing no work. So it just chanced upon that, okay, let's do a documentary. I would not call it a film because film happened later. So let's document the entire process of some of these very rich Goan traditions. Among that, Feni was one, and started going through a lot of this matter on the net and found out that there's so much to Feni, there's so much to kazu, the cashew fruit, that I never knew about. Being in Goa, I never knew about. So once we started that process, we realized that it should not be just a documentary, because documentaries have been done by so many people. You have something happening and people giving a voiceover at the back, and it just gets monotonous and dull. So you need to do something which just brings out the actual process, brings out the richness of that particular method. And it's a film, but it's not a film like the Bollywood film. It's a documentary, but which is more like encapsulated in a film format. So let's see. It's just a try. It's just an experiment, and I'm sure that if not to that level, I'll still attain a level which we've not seen at the moment in Goa.
So on your shoots, what is that thing? What are those things that are really funny and different when you have been shooting all these days?
Funny part, there are plenty, because first of all, we never knew about the entire process. I have never been intoxicated like how you said, but I have seen intoxicated people. Wow. So, but today we are seeing a little different kind of processes. The main intoxication comes from the process itself. It's very passionate if you go to see how a person is extracting juice from a fruit and then converting it into alcohol, which can intoxicate you and me. There are so many factors which helped us. We actually, while shooting, we got a person drunk to get the proper senses, what he talks about, how a person behaves after getting drunk. So we have a lot of shots of those, which will add a little bit of glamour to the normal kind of documentation that we are doing. And there are so many factors. If I have to just elaborate on a few, Today we are using pipes which is connected to the distillation and the tank. So that pipe was originally a plant called bonki, where a hole was made through and through. They were not using bamboo because bamboo used to crack. You have this bonki which is being used. But today when we went to a lot of these people, we found that they are using normal ordinary pipes. Why? Because it's easy. No one uses a bonki. The mud that they use on top is used from the ant hills, because that adheres very well to the surface. Now, over the period of time, even the clay pot has been replaced by the copper utensil. From copper utensil, now they have gone on to barrels, which are steel barrels. So the process is going to degrade because people are no longer having that age-old technique with them. They don't have the material with them. If we don't document it today, tomorrow we will never know how the process was done earlier. So the idea here is to conserve, to preserve this kind of technology for use in the later on modern development that we are looking at.
Guys, due to time this thing, I have to ask you both one last question. And this has been the foundation of all my talks. Protection of Goan interest. And both of you all have been, in the fields that you are in, you all have gone out of the way to protect the interest of Goa and Goans. Now, let us form a society. It need not be on paper, but let's create waves where all of the like-minded people who can protect Goa in Goa and out of Goa gather together. Someday maybe you will be able to have a set of Goinkar together. Siddha, you can do it. Let us work on this protection of Goan interest before our species only is. I would give you the last word to talk on this.
Yes, Goan interest is a very delicate topic. You cannot be regionalist when you talk about Goan. You need to be Indian by spirit, but protect Goan interests. Now, very often on many verticals, when you talk about protecting Goan interests, there is an element of we versus them, which is not a good exercise in Goa or anywhere else in our country. We need to believe that we are together as a country, but we need to protect the essence and emotion of the region. And Goan region has got a lot of essences, and Feni is one of them. Our harmony is something which is something which needs to be celebrated, protected, and promoted. We cannot think about protection after it is infringed upon. So this is another element I feel, besides Konkani, Feni and harmony needs to be protected, because if you see around the country, there are a lot of polarized corners which should not allowed to come to Goa. That's also another element which I would think we Goans need to pay attention on.
Yes. And Siddha, what do you have to say on this?
As an architect, Goan identity for everyone is the buildings, but there is more to just the buildings. Goan architecture was one which people are looking and talking about it as Portuguese architecture, though it's more of Goan architecture. But there is more to Goan architecture and more to Goa. It comes in maybe Feni, it comes in salt, it comes in pau, it comes in the behavior of everyone, it comes in the mindset. And I think the best part about Goa is that we need to retain this character. And how do we retain it? We need to tell our younger generations on what Goa was. If we don't do that, we are only going to go modern way, and we will lose that character which we call as Goa. And that's the reason why this documentation is very, very essential.
Friends, Each and every of my earlier Candid interviews, I have told the person first to come. This is the only time I conned these two people into coming, because both of them are camera shy. I told them that I am doing an interview with them only after they landed here. And guys,
You got your way through. God bless you.
thank
God
you.
Bless you. Jai Hind.
Let's celebrate the spirit of being Goikar.
Viva Goa.
Viva!
Viva Goa.